Hey, Sean, can we get your charger, just in case, please?
You're nasty. All right, let's get started. I know they're bringing up.
Thank you. Chairs are coming, guys.
Just turn 10:01. Just turn 10:01.
All right, I'm waiting for that. Then we pull that door shut. All right, we're gonna get started. How's everybody doing? I want to cover a lot of information, a lot of writing today. We have the stuff on PowerPoint, but I want you to write down a lot of stuff. Is this on? Do I turn on?
Yeah.
Turn on?
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Cool. All right, I know we haven't been here in a couple weeks, so obviously when you shake the tree, some of the leaves fall. But you guys are here, and we'll get back on track in the next couple of weeks, okay? And today I want to go through a very important training about insurance and closing, questions, objections, generating interest, having conversations with people in regards to the area of income protection, all right, which is fleeting, right? Sometimes you're on it, sometimes you're not, sometimes you're feeling the zone, sometimes you can't close the door, right? That's very, very, it's kind of like basketball. I don't know if anybody's played basketball, but usually people don't shoot 50%, right? They shoot 2 for 20 and then they go 18 for 20, right? So no one shoots 10 for 20 every game, right? Sometimes you're really hot. When you're really hot, you take the shots, and when you're not, right? And so, obviously it's March. It's the first, our first Friday training in March. And, I don't want this to get negative, but review your first 2 months. How has your year been going? And obviously we're very good at self-deception and lying to ourselves, right? This food is not going to make me feel bad. It's not going to add weight to me, or whatever it is, right? Or, it'll be fine. I won't be tired tomorrow. Whatever it is that you do, right? That I've done in the past. You have to do an autopsy, okay? Because this is the Friday meeting. This is for the intense players. These are the guys. I know there's some new people. Whatever. We encourage all the new people. But these are people that want to make a career out of this. These are people that want to go full time. They want to make $5, $6, $7, $10, $15, $20, $30,000 a month. Okay, so I can't sugarcoat everything. So if you look at your January and February, and remove all the excuses, okay, because you can only control what you can control. I know most people, they're not having the start of the year or the decade that they'd like to have, okay? So we got to right the ship. You got to see what you're doing wrong. You got to eliminate it. When people call me, because some people, like in our organization, they had a great month last month. They called me. I said, take the mystery out. What'd you do? How many people did you get in front of? How many people did you talk to? How many appointments did you do? How many did you close? And always remember, when you don't work and you don't put the activity in, you're going to get frustrated and you're going to live in a world of delusion. And the worst part about it, Donald, is you're going to start feeling bad. Okay? And if you feel bad trying to do this business, it doesn't work. You can't feel bad about yourself. So if you put the work in and you put the time in and you're grinding, you'll at least feel better. Because this business is hard to do if you feel good. It's impossible to do if you feel bad. Now, always remember, when you have bad months or, kind of you're trending downward, winners come out swinging, losers come out thinking, okay? Don't come out thinking. I'm not telling you to think. Okay? You can reflect. Get to work. Get back in the gym. Put a weight in your hand. Get back on the phone. Go start talking to people. Get busy. And then obviously you guys are doing the right thing. You're here. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's you, Casper, but something, you guys look good this morning. A lot of haircuts today. Sun coming out, winter's gone. You guys gonna look good. I don't know for who, but love your haircut.
All for you, sir.
Hey, look, style your hair good for me because it makes me feel good if you guys have nice hair. Hey man, whatever it is, right? New haircut, new you. I love it. All right, so I know we talked a little bit about the leave behinds, and I wanted to go through some of the brochures. Right, we don't just give these things out to give them out, or you guys get them to give, just to give them out. The purpose of this is to lock in the client and protect your business, right? If you guys understand our business, a little bit about our business, and sometimes I make some eye contact with new people to make sure you're following along, right? We are in a unique compensation business. Unique, I mean, the best, where a client can give you $100 for a husband and wife. Think about that, $100 a month, which is nothing. I'm not going to ask you what people pay for health insurance, okay? Okay, but even subsidized health insurance through group employers sometimes is $200-300. Okay. I have a family of 5. I pay almost $2,000 a month for insurance. And I really have no coverage. It's the worst thing in the world. Right? $2,000 a month. Right? Now, you can get somebody paying $100 a month. Think about that. Husband 50, wife 50. Cover the parents and every child under 18. And as a district leader, client gives $100, they may have $700,000 of coverage between both of them. So they have a $700,000 death benefit. And you make $600. Think about that. You need to be talking like crazy about our compensation. You need to know the compensation, know how it works. I do the big, I have these little, I have a lot of threads, right? It's too many threads, right? I mean, Jen, you probably have the most, but I'm second. Like I got like 50, like just group chats that I'm on with people. And people text me stuff, and when I'm interviewing, I show them. I say, look at this. I said, look, these people, they were out there. Look at them. Boo, boo, boo. They did a $100 app. They made this. I made this. Right? Because you guys are probably on group threads, right? And I'm on like group threads, and it's nonsense. Not making us any money. I mean, it's fun. It's cool. We send memes and videos. It's garbage. But the maximum impact thread, that means you made money. That means you got a licensed person. That means you got a recruit. You got another ping pong ball in the NBA draft lottery. That means you got your picture taken. You got the most people showing up. I show people that, I have a growing team. I said, look at the people on my team. They have 20 people showing up. When you have 100, you make 500,000. They don't even understand it. I show it. Why am I talking about this? What was my point?
Compensation. Know your compensation.
Somebody got to listen. But client could change your mind, right? I have kids, right? So when I go shopping for stuff, you just buy it, right? Because you got to go in and out, man. Because one of the three is liable to have a meltdown, and then if you do something in public, you could get arrested. Okay? So you just got to be careful. Okay, you know what I'm saying? If you're a parent, okay? Right? There's cameras everywhere. Okay? And people. In Target, they'll call the police, man. Okay? Oh, no one did that for me when I was a child. Like I needed somebody to call the police on my dad. No one did that. Okay, but now they want to, snitch on me. So you got to go in and out. So like if you buy anything, clothes, anything for the kids, most of the time I buy it doesn't fit. Just doesn't. So you got to return it, right? That happens in our business. If Target has a return line, Walmart has a return line, Costco has a return line, you're going to have a return line. I order stuff on Amazon, it's not what advertised, right? Send it back. So that happens, okay? That's part of it. You can't get down about it. But, Donald, if I did that work, if I met with the client, I drove out there, I presented to them, I don't want some little snake going back and ruining the work I did. And that could be what? Another agent, a friend, a coworker that literally knows nothing about nothing. And they're going to say something that has no, oh yeah, really? I saw a commercial on lifequote.com and you can get it for 11 cents a day. Right? And that's my rent. You just cost me my car payment, man. No. I'm going to protect my business, right? So I have to leave stuff. I have to provide great service. And, you want to build clients for life. All right. You don't want a transaction. You want a relationship. Obviously, yes, you have to get people emotionally involved in the process to close them. Life insurance, especially, is an emotional process. You got to get them emotionally into it, then they justify it logically. But the key, the trick, okay, is at the end of it. Once you're done and you've closed and protected, then you kind of really put the straitjacket in it, right? You really tighten it down and you provide better service by going back and explaining things and reassuring them, Charmaine, that they made a great decision. So these are a couple of the things in the leave behind, okay? And I want you to understand just a couple points that I would reiterate or cover with the client, okay? Because remember, right? Their experience with Primerica is you, okay? And, I'll give you examples of me. When I started out, actively field training, right? I'm pulling up in a hoopty, okay? So I'm going to come here talking about money, and it's 2012, and I'm in a 1996 car, okay? And, you don't have to see the car, you can hear it before. Muffler is just, it sounds like a souped up car because the muffler is, just you can hear it. It's the emissions, no, we did not pass emissions. Okay? This is affecting climate change, this car. Okay? It's putting a hole in those, for sure. Okay? I mean, it's awful. Then you come in, you got your little flip chart, it looks bad, or your iPad's it's dirty, it dies, it's got the red light. You're doing the presentation trying to speed through it at 1%, right? Get through it, right? So you're you, right? You, right? I mean, how you guys dress, how you guys look, you're trying to make it, right? So you can just imagine what I'm talking about, okay? But that's not Primerica. That's not the insurance company that they purchased insurance from. That's you, which is fine. That's cool. You're trying to make it. We get it. And I'm teasing. I'm not teasing though, right? So when we're going to start, and then we bring some credibility in the front of our presentation. But then at the end, we have a couple brochures, right? This brochure, there is no other company, Primerica. There's not really much that you go over, but I would leave it because some people just like to read stuff. And if they read this is a recruiting brochure. It talks about what we do and goes over financial concepts. But then it talks about, by the way, you can make money helping people, right? And just, always remember, a client is 50% recruited. A client is 50% recruited. They believe in you, they believe in the company, they believe in the products and the services, and your clients make the best recruits because they have testimony. They have changed life. Okay, then you have the Primerica fact sheet. Okay, I love this. Okay, I mean, you know, you can just go through these bottom 3 points on here. 781 billion. $781 billion of term life insurance in force. Okay? I know you got 250,000, okay? But we got 781 billion in force. Okay? An average of 3.8 million in benefit claims paid every day. So just, hey, let me go through some facts with you, Josh, about our company, just so you understand the awesome company and the magnitude of our company. You know, because people want security, right? They want to feel comfortable doing, you know, the awesome thing, I used to always say this, you know, the great thing in our presentation, we kind of removed it, but if you remember, you know, the awesome number is, you know, you have a big company backing you, but then you have a small business atmosphere, right? The small business is you, but then you have a huge company behind you. $781 billion of term life insurance in force, an average of $3.8 million of benefit claims paid every day. We pay $3.8 million every day of death claims. Okay, and then this brochure, your Primerica term coverage, has the most valuable options and benefits in the industry. Okay, this is a real. Now I don't go through every single point here. I wouldn't. Okay, this is not about overloading. This is about highlighting some key points, because always remember, right, if you confuse, you lose. You don't want to confuse the client, okay? But, and this goes over the same one, right? So, hey, just want to give you a little bit more credibility about our Primerica Life Insurance Company. We're rated A+ superior. Approximately 5 million lives are insured through us. 94% of our claims are paid within 14 days. Over $1.4 billion in claims paid in 2018. Just so you know, the 2019 numbers are not out yet, right? Because it's just March. So we paid out $1.4 billion in claims in 2018. $781 billion in insurance in force, an average of $3.8 million of claims every single day. This has a terminal illness benefit rider. I'll go through that, right? You know, just if something happens to you, and then also I'll go over the waiver of premium if something happens to you or your spouse, the company will pay your premiums. And then on the back, I would say also, I would go through the F&A very quickly, right? I think that, you know, we're on a campaign to go back and do F&As for all our clients. You should do that. You can, you know, almost like we used to have the client benefits page. You should say, hey, you know, and also because you're our client now, that'll be assumptive, yeah, right? So because you're applying for protection, you become a client of ours. You remember, you're entitled to a complimentary financial needs analysis. Here are some of the things that we do. Just so they know that it's not a one-time thing. They know they're getting other benefits, just in case somebody goes in their ear. Because look, that's very normal, okay? It's very normal. People discuss financial decisions with other people. Oh, I got this mortgage. What's your rate? Then they start comparing. What'd you do in closing costs? Or what's this? What's that? Oh, you got this type of insurance. I have the one you pay forever, and you can borrow from it. It's a college savings plan. Really? You have that? And then they start thinking, and then you lose a sale, which is $600 or $1,000 or $1,500 of commission to you. $1,500 some of your policies that you have. It's a lot of money, right? So we want to keep the business that we write by doing the right things for our clients, especially at the very end. That transition is really important because you did everything right, but you gotta really fasten it up that last 10%. All right. So I just want to cover that real quick. All right. So let's go into the training. Training as well, especially if you're brand new, right? You have to, I know this is educational. We teach people, thanks. We teach people about money, but you have to learn how to close. You have to learn how to sell. Okay, you have to learn how to present. You have to learn, get, tonality, voice inflection, product knowledge. But ultimately, you have to become a great closer. And I told Hai, I said, look, because it's funny, and he was being very honest, right? He was like, I just, what was you were saying something about the appointment? I know they wanted it, but I just couldn't kind of get over that hump, right? What were you saying? Yeah, and he just got nervous at the check, and some people, they get very nervous asking for the check, which, hey, that's the story of my life, man. Okay, and everybody in here can act like, no, it is. Okay, and there are always going to be those opportunities, because sometimes, well, no, that's not me. Okay, have you got $1 million check from somebody? You'll get nervous. Have you got a $500,000 check from somebody? Have you got a $150,000 rollover? And some of you have, okay, but you get nervous, and you're lying to say that you don't. You get butterflies. You want to be prepared. You just, you're shaking on the table like you're signing, and you're nervous, right? And if you're nervous, they get nervous, and you got to rely on your training, okay? And I read every sales book that was out there, every one, every close, every audio. And the thing about me, Val, I had to pay for this stuff, okay, for the audio tapes and those, and the sets were expensive, $60, $70, $100. Tom Hopkins had a boot camp, $200, and then he'd sell the tapes to you, and they'd be a $300 set. And because I bought them, I listened to them. And listen, I know there's so much content now, okay? We had audio tapes, and then you had the radio. Now you have podcasts, and you have YouTube, and you have, and podcasts are so good. I mean it, they're so good. There's sports radio, you got ex-NBA players, Kevin Durant doing podcasts, and rappers doing podcasts. There's so much stuff. Is that helping you close business? That's why you're broke. That's good. You're giving them, you're listening to their ads, and I'm sure it's creative content. There's talk radio, there's politics radio, there's all of it, and great personalities. I hear them, I'm like, wow, they are good. We didn't have those options. We didn't. We had the radio, and we had self-improvement. And me personally, best decision I ever made, Donald, I invested all my time into self-improvement. As much as it's harder now, because I think a lot of people don't listen to music as much as before. But they listen to a lot of podcasts. And I'm not saying there's not value, but is it helping you across the kitchen table? Is it helping you prospect? Is it helping you recruit people? There's a time and a place for that. What was it, the Knuckleheads podcast or whatever it is, or Matt Barnes. I love Steven Jackson. I love Matt Barnes. Like, they talk, and I'm like listening to him. I'm like, oh gosh, I can't listen to this stuff. It's just not. It's not helping me. Right? One of the best books I ever read. It says this is the Bible of persuasion. Okay, Zig Ziglar's Secrets of Closing the Sale. Great book, phenomenal book. Right? The critical step in selling. From the beginning, we stated that the critical part of the sales process is the honesty and the integrity of the salesperson. I'm not talking about paying your bills or writing good checks. When I speak of honesty in the world of selling, I go one step beyond that, and that step is significant. The following two stories will spell out exactly what I mean. Years ago, 1963, I was the #1 cookware salesman in America for the Salad Master Corporation of Dallas, Texas. We lived in Columbia, South Carolina, and business was fantastic. An associate of mine selling the same product in the same town. You ever look at the leader sheets? You see other people in the same office doing better than you? An associate of mine selling the same product in the same town was starving to death. Once, while visiting in his home, we were in the kitchen having a cup of coffee, talking about his sales decline, when the following dialogue took place. Zig said, "Bill, I know exactly what your problem is." "What's my problem, Zig?" "Your problem is simple. You are attempting the psychologically impossible." "What are you talking about?" "You're trying to sell a product you don't enthusiastically believe in." Zig, that's crazy, man. We've got the greatest set of cookware on the American market. It's absolutely fantastic. As a matter of fact, Zig, I left the company I've been with for 4 years and came with Salad Master because of the superiority of the product. In addition to that, I was manager with the other company and started here as a salesman because of my belief in the product. Zig, oh, come on, Bill. Peddle that baloney to other people. I know you, and I know you don't believe what you're saying. Bill, a little hot under the collar. You can say what you want to, but I know I believe in our product. Zig, Bill, I can prove beyond any doubt you do not really believe in the product you sell. And with that, I nodded toward the stove. Bill, oh, you mean the fact that I'm cooking in a competitor's set of cookware? Bill, that's exactly right. Zig, don't give it a thought, man. That's got nothing to do with it. I'm going to buy a set of our cookware, but you know, I've had my problems. We wrecked our car, and for a couple of months, we had to depend on borrowed transportation, buses and taxis. Now, Zig, you know you can't get the job done in the sales world unless you have the transportation you can depend on 24 hours a day. On top of that, my wife spent a couple weeks in the hospital, and I lost a lot of time and spent a lot of money. Now, add the worry and concern I've had, and surely you can understand why it knocked us for a loop. And it's not over because it looks like we're going to have to put the boys in the hospital, get their tonsils out. And Zig, we don't even have any insurance. You're right when you say we should have a set of cookware, and we're definitely going to get a set, but the timing is just not right. Selling is a transference of feeling. Zig, Bill, let me ask you a question. How long have you been with the company? Bill, oh, about 5 years. What was your excuse last year? And the year before that? The year before that, and the year before that. Let me tell you exactly what happens when you get down to the short rows. That means decision-making time. That's what they call that in the South, the short road, right? Like when you come to close and ask for the check, when you ask your prospect that obligating question and he is thinking it over, the decision ball is up in the air. Yes is full commission, no is no commission. I can see the scene now, Bill, so let me paint the picture for you. The customer is thinking out loud as he says, I don't know, Bill. Boy, we sure need a good set of pots. I don't know how my wife cooks in that stuff she has, but it just doesn't seem like the right time to get them. My wife's been in the hospital. We just wrecked the family car. It looks as if the boys are going to have their tonsils taken out, and we don't have any insurance. Now, Bill, you and I both know they're not about to give you the exact same excuses you've been giving me, but we also know they're going to give you the same excuses you've been giving yourself for the last 5 years. You are well trained, Bill, so I know exactly you're going to do every time. I know exactly what you're going to do every time they give you an excuse for not buying. You're going to sit there with a forced grin on your face, saying to yourself, think positive now. Bill, think positive. All the time, deep down inside, you're going to be thinking, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. That's the reason I don't have the set of stuff myself. This is called the believer's close. Closers own what they sell. Life insurance companies will tell you they can take 100 of their salesmen with at least 1 year's experience, and without looking at their sales records, predict within 5 percentage points what these men as a group are going to sell for the year. They make their prediction based on solely the amount of insurance these men carry on their own lives. You hear what I just said? You see, selling is a transference of feeling. The critical step in the world of selling is this step of honesty, which is your total conviction, your complete belief that the product or service you sell is truly the best buy for the prospect. Great book, okay? It has a list of closes, but you know, look, I'm not telling you to own the product that's not appropriate for you, okay? But I love when we get to that closing point and I'm sitting down with somebody, and usually it's a man, right, that's being stupid and ignorant and cheap and irresponsible. And he wants to say something about money, and then I tell him, well, you know, I spend $4,000 a year for life insurance. When I was young and single, my mom was my beneficiary. I had a $500,000 policy. Right? Why? Because I believe it. I believe I'm going to tell you to buy something, I'm going to own it. Right? I have so much insurance, right? I don't even want to tell you, because you'll tell my wife and she'll kill me. Right? Because I might be worth more dead than alive. Right? I got it when I was young. I get it every time I upgrade my family in terms of size, child, house, car, whatever it is, I get more coverage. Why? Because I believe in what we sell, man. And you look, and I started here, I was 23 years old. I lived at home. I didn't have any responsibilities outside of me. I was a liability financially for anybody, but I believe in what we do, right? And if you need to get that and get into your quiet place and read GoFundMe's, because when you're across the kitchen table, it's hard for a client to spend $75 a month. And so if you don't have that extra ounce of conviction, and I'm going to teach you the words today, and the words are great, and they're awesome. And not only are we going to go through the words and the questions and the psychology behind a lot of these questions, and I'm going to give you the best words, the best questions ever. I mean, these are a absolute smack to a client. Okay? And I don't mean that in a mean way. We don't act like that with our clients, but meaning they can't go against this. But you got to believe this stuff, man. Right? And obviously this can transfer in anything else, in recruiting, and showing up, in meeting attendance, and getting your license. I don't care what it is. If you do it and you're an example, I always tell people, you can't motivate anybody. You're just an example. I can't even motivate my children. I mean it. I brought them into this world. I can take them out. I can't motivate them. I can just be a great example. I was telling somebody yesterday on the phone, I was like, look, yes, I spend a lot of time with my kids, but my kids know, show me the fruits, I'll show you the tree, right? Show me the roots, show me your kids, I'll show you you. Right? Like, I know they just follow me. They know that I'm dedicated, I'm hardworking, I'm committed, that I have a great attitude. I don't quit. They know, they get that from me. But they don't do the things I ask them to do. They do what I do. Right? I mean, I tell you, like, I love playing soccer. I love it. I played soccer my entire life. My dream was to put my son in soccer so we could play together. I put him in, when we were younger, I put him in this, it was called the diaper league. Right when he started diapers, it was a Brazilian diaper league. I put him in, he was doing great, he loved it. When he came of age, he didn't like soccer. I still try to push him on. I put him in the field one day and he fell asleep on the field. And at first I was embarrassed, but then I was like, damn, my son is tight. He can fall asleep anywhere. He don't give a what. He was literally asleep, laying down, and they're playing, kicking the ball. He was like, whatever. Hey, tell me when this is over, man. Like, he didn't care. And I was like, okay, maybe I'm trying to project on my son. Okay? This is probably not destiny here.
Oh my God.
Right? And it's just funny, because these parents are like these helicopter parents trying to make their kids up. It's like, I know you try to make, like, no, you do it. Then they'll follow you. Right? And look, I'm there for my kids. I encourage my kids. And, I'm on my kids. I yell at all that stuff. I nag them, harass them, all the jobs of a parent. At the end of the day, my kids just watch me. That's what they do. They know I get up, I'm committed. Like, for example, right? I don't talk about it. So, like, everybody, like, that's why I love it when people that you don't know what I'm going. You don't. What did you say? You don't. That is an arrogant statement. You have no idea what other people are going through. Right? My dad, you guys don't know this, right? My dad was in the hospital. Some of you guys do because you texted me. My dad had a stroke last week. It was a mini stroke. Okay, so I wouldn't talk about it if it was that, but like, I still answer my phone, and I'm not saying you have to be me. Okay, I'm not saying that. you know, hey, be with your family. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, it's just obnoxious to think when you say things like that. Well, no, you don't understand me. I couldn't show. No, you don't ever say that. That was a choice. That was a choice. That's like me saying, you don't understand. I don't. No. My wife decided to work hard in school. She made it a priority. She made decisions and she reaped the benefits of that. Me, I did the opposite. And then, yes, I wanted to blame other people for my shortfalls. That is not a successful mentality. And thank God I didn't carry that here, because it's easier to do it with life and kids and religion and spirituality. The excuses get even better. But at the end of the day, you got to look at your bank account and your life. There's nobody, right? I don't care what vote goes, no one put money in your bank account. That is a big myth. I'm not telling you to vote for, but no one's ever sent me money. Okay? Nobody. Right? That's up to you. So, you know, when I go through these questions, which one is it? Okay. So some are different conversation starters. Some are different thought-provoking questions. Some are open-ended. Some are hard power questions. So we're working on the data collection to where when we get into the dime, basically the questions we're going to change now. We still like the questions, but when we find out the insurance need, we're going to want the client to tell us through questions exactly what they want to have happen. Okay? Whether it's pay off the debt, do kids college, have enough money, how would they feel, all that stuff. So we're going to elaborate on the dime, and I pulled some questions out of this. We may even have it by tomorrow for training. We're not doing Super Saturday tomorrow because we have the big event in 2 weeks. Okay, so we'll recognize all the people there. But if you have somebody that you like, test pass from, they're bringing their family out, let me know. Maybe we'll get them up there. They can even say a few words, whatever it is. Okay, so just reach out to me. But so after we go through the insurance quadrant and we explain everything and we go through every question, okay, then we're going to find the need. Okay, and once we get to the need, we are 90% there on closing. Okay, and look, sometimes, Keenan, people feel, if they feel they're being closed, they're going to resist, right? And I use this analogy all the time. Josh, put your hand up. Right? See, Josh didn't know. I didn't tell him what to do, right? He put his hand out. I pushed. He just pushed back naturally, right? If you push, he's going to push back. But if you, right, kind of get in this weird place where they're not pushing and they're listening, because what's the key? When you get into close mode, if you start talking faster, if your voice tonality gets higher, it makes the client nervous. So you can ask. It's not what you say. Sometimes it's how you say it. Okay? So some of these questions, depending on the way you say it, they're obnoxious. Okay? I mean that. Because I got these questions, I didn't learn them. Okay? I learned them, but I got them from a book. This is a whole life agent sales book. That's where I got this from. Because if someone can sell somebody on a $400 a month policy when they don't have any money for $50,000, think about that. I want to know what they're saying. I want to know how to debunk it, but I also want to take what they're saying because they may have some good closes. Now I have some, these are some of the other questions I've got, and I pulled this book, right? And if you think about it, this is one of the best books I've ever gotten. Look how crappy this book is. And the spelling is even bad, the punctuation, the grammar. But you can tell this is like a black book for whole life insurance people, right? It's just like a little, notebook, but it's good, right? And I got all the questions out and we typed them up, and Chandel put them on the slides for me. I appreciate that. And some of the grammar may be wrong, but when you'll see some of these questions, right, they may seem like, oh man, I could never ask that. Well, sometimes you might have to, right? But you want to do it a different way. And always remember, on any close, okay, especially the closing part, you may have to ask 5 different times for the check. And most people, they give up after 1, 2, or 3. But if you ask the 4th and 5th time in a professional, pleasant way, you can get the close. And I would review this training on YouTube or whatever it is, how I say it, the psychology behind some of these questions, and the questions themselves, and I would write a lot. I used to tell this story all the time, right? My dad, I would practice with my dad, right? Because I didn't have a lot of points when I started, and my dad's old school. He's mean, okay? My dad, he's nice, but like he just never took me serious, and he would just throw all these things. I had no idea. He confused me. And I'd practice my presentation in front of the mirror. We'd have our little tape recorders, and they were like a handheld recorder, and you'd like. And you're recording your RVP like a newspaper, like with the mouth is like, like what'd you say again? And and I play it. That was me. And I practiced in front of my mirror, in my bathroom, and I would say it because I wanted to be so good. I knew that you couldn't just wing it and be good at this business. And then I would practice with my dad. I said, Dad, let me just can I go with you? My dad, all right, sure. And my dad would give me such a hard time. I literally would start crying there. I'm grown. Okay, and I'm not like I'm like, and I'm like sniffling, crying. He's just being so freaking bad to me, dude. And like just getting in me and saying this, I'm like, I'm never gonna freaking win in this business. And but my dad was so tough on me, Robert. I mean, just absolutely just a jerk. I like being with the clients more than I like practicing with him. So the clients were really easy for me. I mean, I didn't care. And I didn't care how annoying it was. I practiced all the time, man. Oh, show me your presentation. What do you have? How do you say it? Are you confident? And once you, which I have mastered, you can present and you're thinking about your kids and practice and all this stuff while you're presenting, then you got the presentation. Because I don't even think about the presentation anymore. It just comes out. I'm in another world. I'm thinking about TV, movies, what I'm doing tomorrow. And I'm not saying this is good or bad, but that's how well I have the presentation. It's on autopilot. That's where you got to get. So, some of the questions.
Zoom out.
Okay. Like I said, sometimes this may just come out, okay? And I just put I put all the questions on here. Some of these are obviously in our data collection. Say you're having a conversation with somebody at a barbecue, right? You just want to think it. How much life insurance have you purchased to protect your family? It's different than how much coverage do you have, right? If you knew your family would be protected if something were to happen to you, how would you feel? You can also add a part 2 to this. Say I asked the husband, if you knew your family would be, Thomas, if you knew your family would be protected if something were to happen to you, how would you feel?
Feel great.
All right, say I asked Thomas's wife, Mrs. Barnes, if you knew you were protected if something happened to Thomas, how would that make you feel? Right? I don't want him just to say it. I want her to say she'd feel great if he's protected. Because, sometimes they got to hear it from their spouse. What's your attitude about life insurance? How much life insurance do you think you will need when you die? Like I said, I want to teach a little psychology behind some of these questions just so you understand. How much life insurance do you think you'll need when you die? Different question than if you die today, right? Okay, fine. You're relinquishing to the client. Okay, when you die, no, then you tell me, how much do you think you'll need when you die? How long do you think you'll need your life insurance? I already went over this. How do you think your wife and family would feel knowing that they were protected if something were happening? That's different than actually asking the wife at the kitchen table. Shondell, if something happened to Mike, how would you feel knowing you're protected? Right? If there were a way to protect your family forever from the financial horrors of widowhood for just a few dollars a month, you probably want to know more about it, wouldn't you? Like I said, when you ask I know people don't want to talk about life insurance. We don't even want to talk about it. So you got to understand the question. When you're going to ever ask a confrontational question, whisper. Sit back, lull them to sleep, and they'll listen to you a little bit more. Don't ever get aggressive in your body language or time. Would you object if I showed you something that might benefit you? This is a great question. Would you agree that where you are right now is based on past decisions? Let them answer. This is not a question after a question. This is a question, answer, then question. Would you agree that where you are right now is based on past decisions? Would you be willing to make what seems like a difficult decision now that could improve your future? Always remember, questions pull, statements push. Would you agree that where you are right now is based on past decisions? Would you be willing to make what seems like a difficult decision now that could improve your future? Do you feel success is accidental or planned? How important is it to you that your family has enough money to live on if something were to happen to you? Think about that. Think about that question, how good that is. You know, they think this insurance thing is like some, no. How important is it to you that your family has enough money to live? How important is it to you that your family has enough money to live on if something were to happen to you? Something happens to you, they don't have enough money to even live. So, you know, some people say this, that I have a support system, my parents, my this, my that, my in-laws, this and that. Okay. Who do you want to raise your children in the event of your death? Will they be able to do it without additional money? Are you planning to provide for your wife for as long as you live or as long as she lives? Are you planning to provide for your wife for as long as you live or as long as she lives? If you had died today and you could come back for 5 minutes to speak to your widow, could you do so without having to say, I'm sorry, I wish I left you more money?
Yeah.
You know, I mean this when I say this, like, you know, yesterday I was with my daughter, right? I was with my baby. I was with her at 9:30 and, you know, went to the gym and, you know, then I came to the office and stuff like that. And, you know, we're leaving. And then I had to rush out because I had some stuff to do here at the office. And then my daughter is not even 4. Okay, so she's 3. She doesn't know anything. Okay, she's an infant. Okay. But the, you know, the coach at the gym said, oh, hey man, you know, you gotta get back to work. And then, and my daughter didn't say my daddy doesn't have to work because I'm unemployed. She's like, oh, no, my daddy doesn't work. She knows like that I work for myself, that I make my own schedule. And, you know, just seeing my daughter and how she looks at me and, you know, just we're walking out of the gym and stuff like, and I know every parent is like this. You know, I mean this. Every parent is like this. I feel like that. Like I worship the ground both my parents walk on. Like my dad, my hero, my mom, my hero, love all, you know, worship them. I mean, I don't love my parents, I worship my parents. But like I am that girl's hero. Like she just, you know, and but you know, like when you do these things, right? Like, you know, when I went to this funeral the other day for my client, like you're a hero, man. You know, like you're there, you're doing something. Like I know it sucks, I know sometimes it's really hard to do these things and ask these questions, but it's going to happen. Your clients are going to pass away if you've been here long enough. You know, we're not selling trash. We're not selling cash value. We're not selling variable life. We're not selling these stupid policies with stupid riders. Okay? We sell the cheapest deal out there, the best product out there. We drive all over. We educate people. They lapse the policy. We got to go back and save it. All these things. And something happens. You go to that funeral, you go to that church where they're praying for somebody that just left this world. You're a hero for that family. Okay, so I know it's like, oh man, I wouldn't want people to say that to me. I know, yeah. But you know what? I'd want someone to say if I didn't get it. Because, you know, I'm the same guy, like I said, I look at my parents, you know, I love my parents, you know, but I hated my parents when I was 15. I hate you. I pray that my kids never say stuff like I treated my parents. When I was like, I hate you, crying, I hate you. I say that all the time. I feel terrible about it. But I know it's coming probably a million times worse for me, right? Because karma, you know, it comes, right? But as much as but my parents are my heroes, man, because you know what? You guys know the stories, right? I tell them all the time. I'll hang out with the wrong kids. My mom would come out to the car. Who are you hanging with? Oh, get out of here. You're embarrassing me. No. Who are you hit with? Bring him home at 11 o'clock. If I call, I'm coming there. Mom, get out of here. You're married to me, man. And I love my mom for doing that. I look back like, man, my mom did that. I was 11th grade, 16, 17 year old. My mom would show up when, you know, I'd get bad grades. And I tell my mom, you know, and I was a misbehaved child, but I was smart. I said, man, you know, the teachers, I think they're treating me unfairly. My mom, dad go to school. What are you doing? Tell my son knows the material. And they get that. And I'm like, damn, okay. Because I was right. I wasn't just being bad with my parents. But if I got out of line, my parents told me what's up, right? Like sometimes you got to say it, right? Like, you got kids. You don't got no insurance, man. You're driving. You get in an accident. You travel. You don't have $50 to protect your kids with $100,000. You're married. They're your children. They have your last name. Protect your kids, man. And you got the 11. You got the 3 cameras. See, you don't got a policy.
So these are great questions. My question is, when is the right time to ask some of these questions during the case?
I think when you're having insurance dialogue on the close, or it may come up before that. When do you get to closing talk? Sometimes if the client is being resistant, they say, I don't want to commit money to it, right? Then you're going to start talking insurance. There's no reason to go on through the whole presentation, and hopefully by all this information, it'll change their mind. No, we got to talk about this. We got to, you're not understanding, because we want to identify, right? Always remember, with insurance, people make 5 big mistakes, right? You guys know them. We'll go through them, right? You know what any of them are? Casper? Write these down. 5 big mistakes people make, and they could be mistakes or attitudes that they have regarding life insurance. And you got to identify one or more of these, okay? And these are fatal. You know one of them?
Not getting enough coverage.
Right, not having enough, inadequate coverage. That's one. What's another one? Cash value. Any type of permanent insurance. Biggest rip-off ever. Worst financial product you could ever own. What else? Terrible term. Buying term from a cash value company. What else? Group coverage. Depending on your group. And last one? Right, treating it as a luxury. Those are the diseases that the clients have. You got to identify them. So sometimes, Casper, through discovery and asking questions throughout the presentation, because you're just having a dialogue, especially when you get to the quadrant, right? They might say, well, I can't commit money. Well, then we're gonna have a talk about it. Now, like I said, you got to what? You're playing poker, right? You're not throwing this out right away. This is probably something you need to ask after you've built some rapport, right? Or maybe you can ask a different, hey, look, there's a lot of different ways you can say a question like this. If something did happen to you, if something happened to you, you died, right? I mean, some of my clients have died. I see how the clients react. Like, in our office, I'm telling you, this is true. We get calls from widows. It's a whole different conversation when they have $500,000 or $600,000 or $700,000 versus $150,000. Okay, $150,000, they're still, but it's not the same, right? It's not the same. Now, look, we're not ever encouraging, Casper, the client to go insurance poor, right? But we have to create this picture for them if something happens. That's why you need the insurance. All right, think about companies. Just think about this for a second. Who's bought a house? Anybody ever buy a house? Right? Why do you have homeowners insurance? Why do they make you have homeowners insurance before you can even move in? Why?
Actually, it was never really explained, just something that you had to have.
Yeah. Well, who does it protect?
If something happened, you
Thank
can't get.
You can't pay it. And it protects all the companies, but not just protects you. You got to pay for it. They say, no. We don't care. We're not going to check your finances. We don't care. Statistically, probably nothing's going to happen. You got a $300,000 mortgage, and guess what? The mortgage company, the whatever, the developer, everybody wants you to have this insurance before you buy this, and you have to do it. Car insurance. Cars are not that expensive, even if it's a $100,000 car. But some of your cars, right, they're $20,000, $30,000, $10,000. But you got to have insurance. Why? Because it protects the manufacturer, it protects the public. It doesn't protect you. They make you have it. Life insurance, the burden falls on your family. That's why no one mandates it. But you should have it. Because you may not get in a car accident and nothing may not ever happen to your house, but you're going to die. You are going to die. We just don't know when. You are going to die. That's a 1 out of 1 chance. That's the odds of that. And if you don't have money and you die, your family takes all the risk. Then you can cancel the insurance once you have the money. So we're just trying to explain financially from a doctor's perspective, but it's with money. No, you need to take this medicine. You better exercise. You better drink water. You got high blood pressure. You don't take this, you're not going to be around for your kids, right? A good doctor says things like that. Hey, this is like my mom, right? My dad has a heart condition, right? He has my dad doesn't eat the same food that we ate growing up. I eat his food. There was no salt in it. It was the worst tasting food in the world. No, this is for your dad. No. He cannot eat this. As the doctor saying, he cannot eat this type of food. Is that wrong? Is that unprofessional for him to say? Is that pressure? You know how much doctors make? They do a surgery. They do open heart surgery. You know how much that's why they make so much money. So they probably don't eat. But a good doctor's gonna say, Donald, you cannot eat this. You need to change your diet, you need to change your exercise, you need to change your sleeping habits, stress levels, you cannot eat this or you're not gonna be around. What's wrong with us saying that? If you say it nicely, pleasantly, professionally. We've been on the other side. Clients have called after they passed away and there wasn't enough. They had something. How much life insurance would you buy for your family, right? You're not buying it for me, you're buying it for your family. If you knew you were gonna die tomorrow, how do you know you aren't going to? Sometimes you just want to create uncertainty. Like I said, have I used all these questions? Maybe once. I don't use them a lot. Usually you don't need to. But I want you to understand the mentality, right? When we sit down with a client, they don't know when they're going to die. They have no idea. If you are sincerely interested in protecting your family's future, when do you think is a good time to start? This is a really good question. What does your income pay for now? What does your income pay for now? Who is dependent on your paycheck? Who would pay the bills if you were not around? You know, sometimes they don't want to get coverage on the wife. Who would take care of the children while your spouse is at work? When you need more life insurance in the future, what if you can't get it because your health has changed? How much is your family's future worth to you? I should say $1,000. 1 million. Let me ask you a few questions about your health, then we can see if you qualify. If you were to go ahead with this policy, would you prefer payment by check or would you authorize checking? Great question. Do you think that doing this would be the best thing for your family? No, I'm not sure. Okay, what would be the best? The answer. So you think that not having any protection is the best thing? Say that, right? Do you think that doing this thing would be the best thing for your family? Is the immediate cost the most important factor in your decision, or are you more concerned with the long-term value? Is the immediate cost the most important factor in your decision, or are you more concerned with the long-term value? Can you think of any reason aside from the amount that you shouldn't have this right now? It's a really good question. Always remember, a lot of times people are fighting you. 99% of the time, it's the cost. Okay, so what you're trying to deduce is, if this were free, would you want it? So then, what cost associated? Now, we try to do as much as we can to eliminate the cost by how much would you feel comfortable putting aside and all those things. But at the end of the day, a lot of times when you do not get the check, it's a cost thing. They do not want to pay. Mr. Client, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being, not 10 minute, 10 being you're ready to go ahead with this, where would you stand right now? Okay, a great question. You can use these questions in anything. If you're a 7 right now, what would it take to move you to a 10? Let them say it. Why don't we get this started? All right? That's all you need to say hi. That's all you need. Right? Why don't we get this started? Gotta ask. Yes.
What if someone says, they said that, after you finish you're at the end of the closing part of the KT, and they ask, hey, let me see what else is out there. How do you respond to that?
What do you
See, if they say, I want to see what else is out there as options also for life insurance, how would you respond to that if you're trying to close with them?
Like they want to do research, they want to
Yeah.
check other companies? Okay. You could go 2 ways. You could debunk that, which I probably don't do that much, but I would say, okay, sure. You can research. What type of research do you want to do? And they can say, well, I want to see the price, I want this, I want that. I say, okay. And you can go this route, which is while you're doing research, why don't you have the protection in place? Because right now you have nothing, and your family's completely at risk. And while that this will motivate you to do your research, and most of the time they're going to say, what research? When they say, what research are you going to do? Right? So like I say, what research are you going to do? And what's the problem with doing research? And what are they getting? A quote. Right. They don't know what they don't know the rating of the company, they don't know the length of coverage, they don't know any of the stuff. You can't say that even though you are thinking that and you want to say that, right? It's a stall and it's totally 100% bullshit. Okay, totally. Okay. It's them trying to throw you off your game and say something that sounds smart from someone that has all this time to do research and has never done it. They just don't want to be closed. Okay, so you can be agreeable and say, sure, do your research, which I think you should always say. Then you could either debunk the thinking, but then it could get confrontational and you probably will not close. Or you can say what I said, which I'm not saying that would work every time, but you say something along like, hey, you can do the research. Let me show you how to do the research. My trainer would say something like this. He was a great closer, very hard closer. You'd say, okay, so, usually when people say things like that, it's because they actually don't want to think about this right now. And they want to put it off. We've gotten to this point with your family unprotected for so long because you really have not thought about this. So if we keep delaying, it's just going to we're going to be in the same position we were then. And you will not have any protection. Your kids will not be protected. And, and he would say something like this, like, so by you saying you want to do research, then I'm going to assume you're sincerely really thinking about this, and then let them answer, and then go to the close that way. I don't know. Do people get that a lot right now? You get that a lot?
Actually, we just got that like 2 days ago.
Okay.
And
how much are people getting it? I'm being for real. You get it a lot? Like right at the close or at the beginning?
well, for emergency contact, we say that more than one.
Okay. So, but you got it. You got it more than once? How many times? And what did you say? Were you able to overcome it?
I basically said what you said. I asked them what are they looking for. I do ask for their birthday, and I do give them a quote right then and there. I asked them, like, okay, if I put you on a line check, that's how much money you spend discretionary that you don't necessarily need. I do that. So they can see, like, okay, you spend a lot of money, and I'm only asking for this much, or how much I'm hoping for. And then I send them Chantel's follow-up email that gives them all the information about, like, group insurance, term, all that.
Okay.
Try to set up a follow-up. I get that question.
What did you say?
I don't really get that a lot, but Val and I just actually got that. It was an older couple though, no young kids, so it could be also that. But I said the same thing you said, and I said, okay, well, usually when people say it, either, they really aren't generally interested in getting any coverage for their family. But, is that you, or do you generally want to do research? And they said, yeah. I said, okay, well, just so that I know, right, what research are you looking for? That way I can bring the appropriate material back for you and we can make an informed decision together. And he said, I just wanna do research. I said, well, what would you be looking for? And he said whatever he said. And the wife was like, I just wanna know that you guys have integrity, you know, you're gonna do what you're gonna do. And I said, okay, well, I have a couple of client testimonies. One of my clients actually passed away and his daughter received a check from me. I delivered it to her. She's given me permission to call her when I need to so that she can give a testimony. If she gave her testimony as a real life situation where you can't Google, would that help you make a better informed decision? They didn't want to talk to her. So immediately I was like, okay, so what I'm saying is, you know.
You're not serious.
Yes, I do only get that question with photo.
Okay, so this is a good thing. Okay, so let's actually break this down just so you understand, because if people are really getting it, and I'm sure I got it, I don't remember it a lot, but I know I got it. Okay, so you know, I'm sure you know you guys gave them the stank eye when they said that. Don't do that. Okay? Because it's just okay. So it's just a stupid question. What you doing research, man? Let's Google it right now. I know that's the extent of your research. How can I get this person out of my house? I ain't leaving. Okay. Okay. All right. So let's look at it. Okay, for real. All right. Like, let's get serious, because if you're getting it, you know, and we're at the end and it's a client, especially if you went through the whole thing, I don't want you to miss a sale, okay? So it's always two questions, it's always two issues, right? Number one, it's price. Okay, so they don't want to pay for it, so remember that. And two, it's they just don't want to be closed. Okay?
Yeah.
So you have to strategize which rabbit hole you're going to go down. Okay? I mean that. And you have to get clarity from the client of what they want. Okay? So we can entertain the research thing and ask them what type of research they're going to do. And say, hey, what would you like to know? Or is it, you know, can I ask you a question? Are you okay with our company providing this to you and me providing this to you?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. Then you can ask. So Donald, tell me, you know, specifically, like when you research this, what type of research are you going to do? Okay. Let him say whatever he says. He doesn't know. They're going to say something very probably ignorant or false. Okay. Or they're just going to say something like, I just want to research. Okay. Which, if somebody says that, okay, if somebody says that, I would just, and they say it, you know, I would just prefer to do my research. So they say it like, back off.
Yeah.
Okay. What are they saying to you? They say, you asked me twice, you called me, you called my bluff, I'm not showing you my hand.
Right.
I don't even know what to say. Right? So if you ask again, which depends on how you're feeling, okay? If you want a gunfight, let's go. Okay, I'm good with it. If you just want to, all right, man, that's it. I had enough of you. I'm about to embarrass you. I'm already done with the sale. I don't want this.
Yeah.
Now it's on. Okay? I'm about to reduce you right now in your own home. Okay? So, okay, I don't recommend that.
Oh my God.
Okay, I don't recommend that because you've probably lost all chance. Okay, but if you keep pressing, right, that's like a child who's because I said so. You know, like, get over here. You know, so if they ask again and then they kind of press and say, hey, listen, you know, look, I've gone through and I would recap it. I've gone through the presentation, and let's discuss the things that I've provided. And you know, this has nothing to do with you. I'm just saying it about me. I'm a professional. I'm licensed. I have many clients. What did I do? I explained to you the different types of coverages. I explained to you how this fits within your budget and how much coverage you need. Okay. And some of my clients, I think it's a valid thought, but that's why I asked you. A lot of people don't know what type of research they're going to do. And there's a lot of information out there. And would you agree that your past decisions have led us to where we are today? And then I would try to close them like that. Okay. I'm not saying it's going to work. Okay. Because when they say things twice and it doesn't make any sense, that's pushing back. Okay. I would ask 3 or 4 times, Shub, though, just out of practice and just to see if I could maneuver it, right? Because, it's a pride thing. I just have to change your perspective a little bit, and I want to ask questions. And always remember this, okay? I don't care. Okay, when I say I don't care, it's just like my son. You know what? You're going to miss a lot of sales, man. You're going to miss a lot. I don't care how good you are. You're never going to close them all, and you're going to miss more than you make. And you can say, no, I closed that. That is a lie. Okay. Now, yes, if I get through the whole presentation down, I'm going to close more. But there are many I don't even get through it. That's not a close. Your trainee and your subconscious needs to see you ask 4 or 5 times. Because if you fall on the bike, you got to try it again. Yeah. That's part of it. And you'll learn your flow on what to say, because sometimes you'll say it and then they'll come up with, if I just stop there, I never know what they're actually going to say next. Right? But if I do it, you're going to see, if you get 10 of these shows, 5 more are actually going to say the same thing. It's going to still be stupid, but it's going to be the same thing. Then you know the next step, right? And that's how I would play it. I would do it where I'd say, I would try to go the cordial route and say certain things like, hey, you haven't been protected so far. And I would recap, you want to protect your family. You don't have any protection. You're wasting money. You said something, and you said you want your family to stay and be living. I'm all for you doing research. I'll do the research with you. I'll help you. If you find something better, I want you to own the best product. But usually if I ask what type of research you're going to do, I want to be able to fully explain what I'm doing, and I want you to see what you're going to see out there. And they don't know, right? And so that's the maneuver I would go. Always remember, if you just say, what type of research? What do you mean? You're going to get probably you've lost any chance you have of making a sale. Are you in agreement that this is at least a partial solution to your problem? Do you want to handle this annually and take advantage of the savings, or would paying monthly be more convenient for you? This is a great statement question. This policy can give your widowed family a chance at enjoying life and having a comfortable financial future, and it's quite affordable. Why don't we go ahead with it? Sometimes they just need that nudge, man. They're ready to make a decision. They want to feel better about it. You make them feel better about it. I can't afford it. And back to Jenny's question about the research. Another route you can go, right, is isolating the money. Right? Hey, listen, you wouldn't ask that question about doing research if you weren't seriously thinking about this program, right? Well, can I ask you a few questions? Or do you have any problem with me, or the company? Can I level with you? Is it the money? Right? And then you try to overcome the cost, which ultimately that's what it is. That's even a better route than getting confrontational. Great question, but I want you to understand the statement more important than the question. Okay, so the premium is not your problem. It's the solution to your problem. If you can't pay today while you are still working, and it costs pennies on the dollar, okay, not any, but it costs pennies on the dollar. How can you expect your wife to pay dollar for dollar when you're dead and gone? Okay, what does that mean? Okay, so if we're groveling over $100 a month, okay, for $500,000 of coverage, or $800,000 of coverage, or $300,000 of coverage, if you die, The mortgage is $3,000 a month. The rent is $1,800 a month, and your wife has to pay dollar for dollar. She didn't get the insurance, which was $100 for $300,000. Now you have to pay dollar for dollar. Look, insurance is a no-brainer. It is. It's pennies on the dollar. Think about that. Sometimes you can get coverage $800,000-$900,000 for $100 for $800,000. I appreciate your honesty in telling me you can't afford it. But let me ask you this. You do like what this can do for your family, don't you? Then if you could afford it, you would buy it today. I'm not asking you to spend any more money than you are already spending. What I am asking for you to change your spending habits a little and start paying yourself first to protect your family's future. And if you ask this question in the beginning of wasting money, then you can really use it. Instead of seeing your money go for that, where do you, and if they say, I waste $300, where do you waste it? Just ask them. Oh, we eat out a lot, or we go to the movies, or we go out to dinner every night. Some people do that, right? They eat out every single day. Instead of seeing your money go for that extra trip to McDonald's or extra six-pack each week, you have something to show for your money. Right? Always remember, we're not asking you to spend more money. We're asking you to rearrange where you're overspending. You already told us you waste the money. I think I understand what you mean. You're saying your living expenses are so high that there's nothing left over for life insurance premiums. Is that about right? If it takes all of your income for your family to live now, what are they going to do with little or no income after you're gone? I think this is so good. Like I said, it's a thought. It's just the understanding what they're saying. I think I understand what you mean. You're saying that your living expenses are so high that there's nothing left over for life insurance premiums. Is that about right? If it takes all of your income for your family to live now, what are they going to do with little or no income after you're gone? If your father were to say to you, son, I'm flat broke, can you give me $3 a day to live on? What would you tell him? Would you give it to him? Of course you would. You can see that's what we're talking about here. If you do that, if you would do that for your father, why wouldn't you do it for your widow and kids? When we say we can't afford something, we are usually speaking of luxuries. The life insurance is no luxury. It represents food, clothing, shelter, education, and basic income for your family if something should happen. Can your family afford to be without this protection? Can your family afford to be without income if something should happen to you? This plan represents only a few dollars a week outlay in terms of things your family would have to do without. Wouldn't you agree this is a small sacrifice to make? Right, always reduce it. Hey, this is weekly. This is $20 a week. It's $4 or $5 a day. Right? Like I said, what are you doing here? You're asking 3 to 5 times. You're asking 4 or 5 times. You got to find which ones work for you. And look, have you ever gone into an appointment where you just hit it off, right? You're from the same area. You like the same sports teams. You know somebody who knows somebody, and you feel like then you can ask certain questions because you've built a little bit more rapport. All of us can afford something if we want it badly enough. It's obvious that I haven't done a good job of making you want this protection that much. But it seems to me that the premium payments we're talking about here are insignificant compared to the price your dependents would have to pay without this plan. Wouldn't you agree? Great question. All of us can afford something if we want it badly enough. It's obvious that I haven't done a good job of making you want this protection that much. But it seems to me that the premium payments we're talking about here are insignificant compared to the price your dependents would pay would have to pay without this plan, wouldn't you agree? I'm sure that, like most people, you have the normal number of current debts, unpaid bills and the like, but they still may have to be paid if you die. And it is your wife, the one who would have to pay them. Sorry, I use Siri to get these. Well, then you would want her to be able to do that, wouldn't you? Obviously, you would not take the time to think this over unless you're really interested, correct? Let's make a quick list. What points do you need to consider? All right. Okay, yeah, sure. Let's make a list. All right. I encourage you to think it over. However, I recommend that you be covered while you're thinking about it. It will take 4 to 6 weeks to issue the policy. Let's complete the application and bind the coverage today. This way, your family will be protected while you're thinking about the coverage. It makes sense to think about it while being covered. Wouldn't you agree? Great. Look, this is the 5th question. You want to ask this last, right? Let me ask you a question. If you could have it for nothing, would you take it? Always ask. Yeah, I would. That's a price thing. Well, I guess what you really want to think about is how much you can set aside for this plan. Isn't that true? If I asked you to set $1 per month, you would say that's no problem. True? However, if I said set aside $100 a month, you probably say it was a problem. True? There must be somewhere between 1 and 100 you can set aside. Would you agree? Get some coverage, man. All right? Ask them, say, hey, well, what's too much? 1's not nothing. What's too much? 150? Okay, so there's got to be something in there. Let's get you some coverage. You want it. I'm here. Your kids are in the other room. Your wife wants it. She'll feel better. I mean, I would just do it like that. I promise you. I'll just do it like that. She said she'd feel better. You still feel better. Look, I understand. This makes sense for you. Why don't we go ahead? Just ask. Right? Just ask. You got to ask. All right, so this is on the drive. And I appreciate a lot of you guys writing it down. I think it's better. Like I said, I think you should practice. I think you should practice, okay? This is about turning pro and getting your skills up. Like I said, I know there are a lot of distractions in everyday life, but if you set aside an hour to invest on your skills, right? I forgot the proverb of, somebody very successful saying, if I had 6 hours to cut down a tree, 4 hours would be sharper than my saw, right? I'm not saying that has to be you. I am a shoot first, ask questions later type person. But, I feel like I look at, say, somebody like Jen, who I, just talk to a lot, right? I mean, hours and hours and years of practice, questions of KTs of getting beat up out there. Finally, somewhat of a finished product. Same with me, right? I mean, I missed every sale. I couldn't close anything. And finally, Casper, luckily I would get a sale and then a charge back right away. Okay, I mean that. Like I celebrate, take the money out, took somebody out to dinner, and then I charge back. I promise, that's not a joke, it's not a funny story. I know exactly, I'm like, what the hell, right? Just gotta work harder, gotta get better. You gotta invest an hour, and you also feel more confident, right? Like, even this morning when I was reading these books, and last night I was just reading it, because I felt like, I tell Hy to pick up all these books, and I haven't picked them up in a long time. And I picked up the book, and I read 5 pages from this book. 5 pages out, like I skimmed basically 5 pages right now. This book is 400 pages, it's great. Every page is good. You have to be a professional, man. I know there's this lost art because everyone wants to create the last app, but in that book, 0 to 1, this is sales and marketing, man. You got a product, it's the greatest product in the world. You don't have salespeople to sell it. It doesn't exist because nobody knows about it. Products don't sell themselves. You got to get great at closing, right? I gave you a list of books and stuff, or maybe I did. I don't know if I, I'll send that out to our thread here today. Pick up every book, man. Read a book a week. If you're slow, a book every other week. Even if you read 20 pages a day, it's 20 days. And this thing will go fast. Get in the habit of reading. Putting this stuff in your mind. Trust me, I know there's, oh, no, you don't understand. I'm listening to these types. Okay, fine. It's not going to pay you, though. Okay? And I'm all for that. Okay? I promise you, I do that stuff, too. I'm all for it. But you got to pick up sales books. Know what people are selling and how they're closing. I mean, think of how much I learned. All that stuff is from cash value. That's what these guys are saying. And then some of them I made it our own, but So anyways, I wanted to end with this tomorrow's training, and then we're going to have our monthly incentive. We'll announce it tomorrow. We got a great incentive coming tomorrow. But our trip to the Broadmoor, right? Some of you guys want to travel, and we just went. Many of us went to the Bahamas a couple weeks ago, and they're taking us to the Broadmoor. Some of you guys qualify for a reset. Even if you didn't qualify for the reset, the company's offering something. If you do 3 by 3,000, you get 250,000 points. 150, but it's for every 3 by 3.
No, it's just
one time.
Yeah, just one time. You got to do 1 by 1. Hold on, let me pull it real quick. All right, so you do 1 by 1,000, you get 100,000 points. And if you do 3 by 3,000 personal, you get 150,000 points.
Okay, so if you do 3 by 3, you get the 1 by 1.
Yeah.
Right? What I say, don't ever correct me. Okay, I've only been wrong once. The time I thought I was wrong. I've never been again. All right. So I'm just kidding. So if you do 3 by 3, because I want to know this, because look, you gotta play. Like these things, right? Like I look at these communities that people have, right? And they're cool. I love it. Peloton, okay? Like Peloton is like, you got a leaderboard and you high five people on this bike from your home, and people are into it. They're into it. And I have an app, right? It's like it's a scoreboard app for my gym, right? And and I do a couple things with a couple people in here, right? I'll text Shondell, I did this. Can you do it? What time did you get? How fast? And you compete. It's stupid, but we do it. You can compete for a trip, a honeymoon, all expense paid, to fly somewhere, and then you make money. You compete for some of these things. You recruit 3 people, and guess what? 1 becomes a producer. Play the game, man. Play the game. Get excited about it. Look at the thread and the leader sheets and fast start schools and all these things. You got to play it, and you got to play it to win. This is not a job where you're just grinding and it's a punishment. You get to have fun. I love it when and I know it's the same people. They get their pictures taken, and they're smiling ear to ear because it's fun. Aha, I beat you. How many do you have? How many I have? Just like the Peloton thing. This stupid thing costs $3,000 and $75 a month. People do it. They love it. And they have all these commercials. They're all into it. Why? It's a community, right? We're trying to create that. You got to buy into it, right? And you get your team to buy into it. You got 7 or 8 people playing the game. You're financially independent. Like, you see like I send these, and I appreciate you guys reaching out to me about the thread that I'm doing now, where I send the results every day, right? So you understand, if we do, just so you understand this, right? If we do 5 sales a day, that's 150 sales a month, okay? With proper diversification, that's a $750 to $1 million income, okay? If we do 10 sales a day, that's $1 million slam dunk automatic income. You won't have it if you're not part of it. I'm not saying it to you so you get excited about my thing. I just want you to see, because it's a handful of people that post every day, a couple recruits, a couple sales. That's my entire organization, not just my base shop. If you have that, but you got to get there one day, and one day when you get there, you'll get there if you're part of it. But if you don't look at it, people don't look at it, they don't care about their goals. They don't care, right? It's like the gym, you just don't care, right? You don't care. Here, you gotta care. That's what this is for. I'm trying to teach you how to think and get into it, right? Just like these stupid things that are online, that people, and I love it, but whatever it is, people get into all these ridiculous stuff. Get into it. Play the game. Compete. I have certain threads of, oh man, who's going to do 10? Who's going to do 11? How many interviews? Compete, man. People kill themselves to finish 1 second ahead or do one more rep at a dumb gym. Oh, would you do 21? I'm going to do 22. Were you like that when you played sports? We did the same thing. It was practice. Like, no. Wait, what'd you get? We're running suicides. I'm going to beat you. It was so stupid, but we just competed. You ever see people fight at the basketball court? Right? It's pickup. You suck. You're never going to get paid to play. This is the group of old men that are approaching an injury. You're fighting. You fouled me! That's you, Donald. Right? He fouled me, man! There wasn't no travel. But they care. They care at the YMCA league. They care. Like, they really care. Right? You don't even have a jersey. You got a penny. You don't even have a jersey. But you care, right? Look, man, I'm telling you, you got to start freaking caring about this stuff. Then your money will go up. Right? You can't just, tiptoe in it. Like, get into it. People, they love it. They want to be part of stupid stuff like this. They're part of it already. You got to say, man, I used to compete for parking spots to come first, the seat I could sit at. Like, no. We compete for our office. We get to the office at 5 o'clock. No, we beat you to the office. This is that. You got to create it for your team. I understand everybody has a different vision and different circumstances, but you got to figure out a way to create that. Or you just go about your day doing it. It doesn't work.
My question would be, why do you think people don't like to compete? Like, what is the means behind that? Like, if you had to put it into words, like, because I know it took me a while to even like to compete in this setting or anything like that. I wasn't always like that. So my question would be like, what do you think it is that, make people not so open to competing in something like that?
A lot. Okay, a lot. Number one, right? I'll use my because people use this experience for me, and So like you guys know I go to a gym, right? I go to a gym, and I'm trying to compete with the women. Okay, when I go to the gym, like I just try to compete with them. Okay, so oh no, I'm just trying to get in shape. But I like to win if I can see it. Use your competition just to help you, right? If someone does 10. And you want to push it. You should not do 0. Donald, for me, my competition is like, I never like set out initially to be number one in everything. Because I'm just not wired that way. But if I saw, like, say I saw my brother, and I'm like, if he could do this, I could do it. Because there are some people in your peer group you feel like that with. Yeah. That's that same with my gym. I'm like, wait, this dude, he's my size. He can lift that? I saw this guy, he's drinking soda. Yeah. Shoot, because look, here's the thing. I'm not gonna, and this is something as stupid as fitness, even though fitness is important, I'm not gonna eat right and diet right and do all those things if I'm not gonna like try to get better at it, right? Like, why are you showing up? Why are we here this morning? Not to just not care, you gotta care. And I know it's so easy because when you go in the real world, it's like, no, don't care, no, money's bad, this is bad, you're, my parents said that too. My parents would say that all the time to me. You don't, you're on a close line. Close line or what? Make sure you pray, be like, I like working hard. If it was school, you would put me up. If I was doing this at school, he studied so hard, he stayed up 24 hours, but it's this, you don't get it because you think I'm greedy. Now my parents, you should hear how they talk about the business. Oh yeah, you need to do what my son does. He doesn't have to do anything. It's just so funny, right? So anyways, back to your question, which is a great question. A lot of people, they're not wired like that. I was wired a little bit predisposed because I did play sports. My son's not wired. for example, and my wife's like, don't talk to him like this. So, my son, he likes to box, right? And he's getting pretty good at it. Like for him, he's only 9 and so they got the class and eventually they're going to fight. Okay. That's what happens. Not anything to hurt somebody. So I'm telling him, I talk to him like, hey, because Donald, this is how I tell my son because I'm competitive. I said, look, you got to get good because when you're in there, if you don't hurt the other kid, he's going to hurt you. It's a fight. Right. He's only 9. I just want to tell him this is what we're doing here. It's not going to be, this isn't slap boxing. Like, this isn't, like the other kid's going to try to hit you. You got to be good. It's a fight. Now, I'm not saying like I want him to punch his sister, but yes, when we go out to the court, like if you don't, and you're the weak link, they're gonna put you in the post.
Yeah.
And then your teammate's gonna get mad at you. And then you're not gonna get picked. It's real life out here. So I'm not saying you have to, I don't want him physically hurting people right now. No. But this is why we do it. If he doesn't have this mentality that, hey, I gotta get better and I'm gonna inflict I'm not gonna be the defense, I'm gonna hit him. He's gonna get killed out there. That's what's gonna happen here. Like you gotta want to do it. And find something you can compete in. Whether it's attendance, whether it's appointment set, and do something, right? You see it, and I show you visually every week how many people set an appointment. It's 20% of the group. You don't have to do much to get to the top. Good or bad. You don't have to do much, so just do a little. Just do a little. Just do one by one, you get these points. Why do you think they offer it? Because a lot of people don't do that. Right? And then people find stuff they want to compete in, right? Like my son's not super competitive, but like my daughter, very competitive. So like she'll always say stuff, and she's a trash talker.
Where did you get that?
I don't know. I don't talk trash. Never. Right? But she'll be like, oh yeah, I can beat you in a race. Then my son will get mad, like you can't beat me in no race because he's not competitive, but he's like, she can't beat me.
Yeah.
My 7-year-old girl sister can't beat. I'm just telling you what he thinks. I know.
Yeah.
I'm saying politically correct. And she'll beat him in a lot of stuff because she's super competitive. And then me and my dad are like, oh, she got you, and then he'll work hard to do it, right? Because so certain people, they see themselves in a certain way competitive. You got to get that intensity, man. You got to get that. You don't think people said stuff to me? You don't think people made comments all the time? Oh, did you make $1 million or this or that? Or oh, have you quit yet? When are you going to get a real job? All this stuff. You guys know I met my wife. I love my wife, right? And my wife is not like a mean spirit, but I know she was making a lot of money, and I was making no money, and I was broke, and I'm asking her to fill up my gas tank and do all these things. I didn't feel great about it. I wanted to, and I'm doing my business. I wanted to work hard just to compete, to provide, right? Always, oh yeah, my wife would say stuff. She has this nice Nissan Maxima, brand new. I got this old Honda. Oh, you want to take my car? I don't want to take your car. I didn't care. I mean, at the end of the day, but I was like, all right, right? Yeah. Part of that is pride. Part of this is pride, man. You gotta want to do it, and this will pay you. This will reward you if you get into all this stupid stuff, man. Just move the needle. Just do more than a dead body, right? You have till tomorrow to really figure out what you want to do for this month. We're going to announce tomorrow, we're going to get back in training, we have our op meeting, we got our big event in 2 weeks, right? Just get ready, right? If you took off the last 2 months, which unfortunately a lot of you guys did, realize that's not going to make you feel better, it's not going to help you reach your goals. Look, bury it, it's in the past. Tomorrow or today, March starts with activity, getting people to the meeting, recommitting, right? Because you can Bill Whittle taught me, you can always quit or recommit. You recommit, come tomorrow, get ready to set appointments, right? You can turn this in a second. You can turn this thing around. You can get a recruit, you can get a client, you can read a book and get your confidence back. But yes, and Don, find somebody. Say, hey man, you know what? Let's do this. You want to compete, and you can do it healthily. You can do it reward punishment, and not I'll buy you lunch. Do something crazy. You wash my car, whatever. Buy me an Uber somewhere. Do something stupid and just say, hey, look. Sometimes, you lose and you talk, right? And if you lose, you feel bad. No, that's not, look, we're all trying to get out of hell here. Okay, we're a family, we're a community, right? Like, we compete in my gym, and like, in the rare instances, I'll win, right? After I'm done with my thing, I'll cheer on somebody. In the rare instances, somebody else wins, right? Then, oh man, come on. And then, you know what? We got better, right? Always remember, there's only one number one, but there's more than one winner, right? I don't look at it, if I compete with you, right? And I normally was going to do 2,000 and you're going to do 2,000, and we compete with each other, and I get 4,000, you get 5,000. I'm mad I lost, but I did more, double than what I normally would have done. Have fun, man. Have fun. Right? That's part of it. That's why, like, part of the when we put people up, encourage them, high five, man, you set an appointment, you did this, you did that, because I never thought of it like that. I never thought like, oh man, you beat me and I'm mad at you. I never did that. Now look, I want to kill people. I want to work. but no, because then you have the wrong idea thing about competition, right? I look at like some of these people and what they're doing in Maryland. I'm like, man, hey, they can do it. I can do it. They're not better than me. They're not that much better than me. Right? I can catch them if I work hard. You got to look at it the right way, but you got to have the right intensity when you do the business. And you got to find something you can compete in. You got to. It's imperative. Because then you recruit the right people that want to get to do that too. All right? So, tomorrow, 9:30. Dress up. No Super Saturday because we have the big event in 2 weeks. Today is your last day to get a ticket in your name if you're going to get recognition. Recognition is wide open. Okay, they'll have the final report for the last couple months. And we're going to set a bunch of appointments. We'll have our monthly incentive announced maybe tonight, but if not tomorrow. Saturday training, we'll have some fun stuff to do. Make sure you compete for it. Make sure you play for it. All right? We're going to have an unbelievable March. All right, team, 1, 2, 3.